It's time for Around the Ozarks News, brought to you by the Springfield-Greene County Park Board, Blue Current, and Thompson Sales. Here are your hosts, Ethan and Sarah Foreheads.
Hey there, good morning to you on the first Friday of 2025 and the first weekend we're heading into of 2025. Now, don't worry, I won't count. Next week, I won't be talking about the second weekend of 2025 and then count all the way through to number 52. But we are going to mark the first one. How about that?
Yeah, it's a big one. It's a big one. All right, we have some news, some updates for you on the situation in New Orleans. Authorities believe the man who rammed his car into the crowd there in New Orleans on New Year's Day acted alone. This after previously thinking that he surely had help. The FBI says that it went through hours of surveillance video, and they are pretty confident that Shamshoud Din Jabbar was the only threat. He was killed by a return fire from police. Police say that he posted several videos online proclaiming his support for ISIS, and of course he had the ISIS flag on the truck. The FBI says Jabbar explained in the video that he originally had planned only to harm his friends and family, but was concerned the news headlines would not focus on the, quote, war between the believers and the disbelievers, end quote. 15 people were killed, 30 are injured. And now to this, the FBI says, as for the deadly and purposeful Cybertruck explosion that happened shortly thereafter outside the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas, they do not believe that it was linked to the attack in New Orleans. Still no word on the motive. Officials said Matthew Allen Livesberger rented the vehicle, drove it to the hotel, and surveillance video shows the moment that the truck exploded. The driver was killed as well as 7 people hurt who were standing nearby, but only the one death. Police found 2 handguns inside the truck along with gasoline canisters and fireworks. Also, this is interesting. Just like the terrorist in New Orleans, Jabbar, he served in the U.S. Army, as we told you. So did the man in the Las Vegas attack. Livesberger also served in both the Army and the National Guard from January 06 to 2012 and was serving as an Army Special Operations soldier since December of 2012. So that's kind of a lot.
It's a lot, and it's very strange and troubling.
It is troubling. And I just feel like we typically just cover really local news, honestly, on this podcast. But I've been watching all of this because it feels like a coordinated effort a bit, you know. But I mean, it appears apparently they were not linked.
Okay, well, I hope that's the end of it, but you never know. Here in the Ozarks, we'll be getting some federal assistance for the flooding and tornadoes that we had go through here in early November. This type of declaration makes public assistance available for repair of damaged roads, bridges, and other public infrastructure. So that's really what this is about. Counties that will get some of the money are Dent, Douglas, Howell, Oregon, Ozark, Phelps, Pulaski, Shannon, Texas, and Wright counties. 5 people lost their lives in that flooding, including, you'll remember this, a couple on their way to work at the polls, the polling place on Election Day in Wright County. That was a sad deal. And now some pretty good news. The Highway Patrol says there were 0 traffic and boating deaths, fatalities in our area over the New Year's holiday. That's good. 50 people were cited, though, for driving while intoxicated. That's not so good. There were 44 crashes, but again, none fatal. The counting period ran from 6 p.m. on New Year's Eve throughout all of New Year's Day.
All right. Switching gears entirely now. This is just interesting. Food news. Chick-fil-A has some new menu items coming, but apparently they're not coming to the Ozarks. They're going to basically be in Georgia to see if they're any good. And if it goes well in Georgia, perhaps we'll see them here. Banana pudding, sweet potato souffle, sweet potato waffle fries. Yes, please. Peach pie, whatever tropical nuggets. That's what it says. That's what
Yeah,
they're
I don't know
called.
what those
Tropical
are.
nuggets.
I saw those. I don't know. I don't know what they are.
I don't know what they are either, but they must be good. Tropical chicken minis, fried okra, and crispy sprouts.
I don't know what crispy sprouts are, but I know what fried okra is.
Yes. While I'm on the list, let me give you this too. The beverages, the new beverages are cran lime lemonade, frosted pineapple, pineapple nut milkshake, and frosted Hawaiian. So we'll see how they do in Georgia. And if it goes well, we might have them here.
Man, remember that milkshake that when we were in Hawaii, we were in Maui a couple of years ago, and the milkshake that we got down on the beach was the best thing I have ever had. It was basically pina colada milkshake, but it was pineapple and coconut. It was unbelievable. My kids still talk about that milkshake and be like, Dad, we should go back to Maui just for that milkshake. And I'm tempted to do it.
And it was the only time perhaps that Ethan allowed the children to only eat ice cream for dinner because it was big and filling, right?
Yeah, we had it every day.
Yeah, that's what they wanted.
We had
and
one
by
every
we,
day.
I didn't have it every day. I can't afford to. Listen, I would love to.
I was
but we
on
know
vacation.
that I have to fit into a suit jacket the next day sometimes. So
Well,
clearly not today. Clearly not today. I'm in an oversized sweatshirt with no makeup. It's great.
Man, that was the best milkshake. I wish somebody around here would just
figure out how to make that.
Yeah, and it came with with an almond joy on top.
All right. Moving along now, we are about to get real cold outside, so brace yourself for that. We have the potential for ice and snow this weekend. MoDOT is getting ready. They will roll out if need be. You might see snow plows on the roads as early as tomorrow. So be advised, stay back 200 feet if possible. Give them some space. You know what? This is going to make you give them space. It's going to make you give them space when you recognize not all of the snow plow drivers are super experienced. I remember the first time I learned that. I was like, oh, okay. I mean, you got to practice, you got to train to get hired for the job, but it's not like some 50-year-old man who's been doing it for 20 years.
Well, and this isn't Colorado either.
No, it's just funny. I remember like one time meeting one of the snow plow drivers from MoDOT. I was like doing a story, and I remember thinking, oh my gosh, how long have you been driving a car? He just looked so young.
Let alone a snowplow.
Yeah, let alone a snowplow. Anyway, it made me treat them differently. That's all I'm saying. I will give them plenty of space.
I just watched a video. It was a reel. You know how you get sucked in by the reels and you just keep swiping. There was a reel of probably because we were in Colorado and my phone knows that. But it was a snowplow driver in Colorado. I mean, it was, I don't know, it looked like 6 feet of snow. But he was plowing through it on a mountain road. So it looked like it was basically a 1-lane road. And he was pushing snow off the cliff side of a mountain. It freaked me out just watching it. It made me nervous. I sweat a little bit watching it because heights. I'm not a big fan of heights, but he was doing it. He's pushing, get rid of the snow. I wanted to see it. I never did get to see a shot behind him of what it looked like after he went through, but he seemed.
That's the end of the story.
Job. Yeah, I was just watching. Well, you reminded me of that reel, and it was a good reel. I think I saved it on my phone for the kids to watch.
That's it.
That's it.
That's all you got? I thought you were going to be like, and then he fell off the cliff.
Were you hoping that he fell off the mountain?
Then he survived and he got out and said, I'm okay. No,
that's it. Sick
that's
and demented that you would root for that.
End of the story. Okay.
All's well that ends well. He cleared the road. Everybody went along their way. Everything was fine. Hey, the Kansas City Chiefs play Sunday. You know this, their final regular season game of the year at Denver, but familiar faces will not be taking the field. Patrick Mahomes, namely, and some others who Andy Reid did not name specifically, will not play in the game because it really means nothing to the Chiefs. They're already the number 1 seed in the playoffs. It does mean something to the Broncos, though. They need a win to clinch a spot in the playoffs. So they're going to be going 100%. And, the backups for the Chiefs will be playing hard, too, no doubt, because they're trying to earn a spot on the starting squad.
Yeah.
So instead of Mahomes, backup QB Carson Wentz will get the start against the Broncos in Denver on Sunday. And this is interesting. For the first time as a starter in his pro career, Patrick Mahomes was left off the Pro Bowl roster. Huh? That's interesting.
That is interesting.
But there's some big names that up and comers that are doing well that were chosen instead, including Josh Allen from the Buffalo Bills, Baltimore Ravens, Lamar Jackson, and Cincinnati Bengals, Joe Burrows. All good quarterbacks.
Well, I wonder if he's sad about it.
He's Patrick Mahomes. Probably not.
Yeah.
He's about to have a baby anytime.
Right.
now.
Yeah. He's got some other hopeful priorities coming along. So, okay. Around the Ozarks, speaking of the Chiefs and football, we do have a new contest to tell you about. So we're super excited about it. Vietti. That's the name. Vietti. If you want to play for the Kansas City Chiefs Divisional Playoff game and win your chance at getting some tickets, scoring some tickets to that game, go to aroundtheozarks.com and click on contest, scroll down to the Chiefs Bowl and enter to win. And then we'll let you know who wins. I think on Friday, next Friday. Sorry, next Friday. My dates are all off.
So this is brought to you by aroundtheozarks.com and our friends at Vietti Marketing. They are helping us with these tickets, and we are giving away said tickets for the Chiefs playoffs, the divisional playoffs. So that's cool. That'll be a big game to go to.
Okay, I found it. Kansas City Chiefs Divisional Playoff giveaway. Go to contest, sponsored by Vietti Marketing, and somebody is going to win. So that's exciting because it's a big game. That's all we got. That's all we got, folks.
All right. First weekend of the new year. It's going to be a little messy on Sunday, so make sure you turn in to Abby Dyer's Wake Up Weather. She'll give you a lot more about that because depending on where you are, it could be ice, could be some snow. There's going to be something wintry happening, certainly in the Ozarks, but maybe in Springfield, maybe where you are, wherever that is.
We'll see. I know.
Hey,
I'm excited.
Thank you. You're excited about ice? Remember the last ice storm?
No, I mean, you want my spiel or not? Do we have time for this? I like something
about this?
A little bit. I didn't realize it until today. I was talking about it with a coworker. I like things that throw me out of my routine. I like a routine. You have to have a routine whenever you homeschool children. However, I like to be thrown out of my routine.
And
there you go.
This would do it?
Potentially. Yeah.
Potentially.
I mean, if you can't drive anywhere, then right? Yeah. I mean, it could. I don't know what's expected because I am not Abby Dyer, but for the Abby Dyers of the world, I mean, they said it's potential. So I feel like we could be out of our routine. That would be fantastic for me.
You know, that is something about winter in the Ozarks that every now and then you could have a snow day, not have to go to work from home or whatever.
Isn't it it's so lovely, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, it is kind of it's like, oh, that's different because it happens, I don't know, 2 or 3 times a winter. You have a snow day or it's icy or they close stuff just on the forecast that doesn't pan out sometimes.
There you go.
But yeah, that doesn't happen in the spring, summer, or fall. It's only winter.
Yes. So that's why.
All right, maybe we'll get a snow day on Monday. You and I will be here because we're in our house, but don't know about everybody else. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you.
Yes, we'll see you. Bye.
It's time for Around the Ozarks Wake Up Weather, sponsored by Command Family Medicine and John's Heating and Air. Here's your host, meteorologist Abby Dyer.
Well, good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. I know all eyes are on this weather forecast as we head into the weekend, and it's been a doozy to forecast, let me tell you that, because we're going to have vastly different conditions from north to south across the Ozarks, some getting walloped with a whole mixed bag of winter weather, including ice, freezing rain, sleet, snow, and yes, cold rain is in this forecast too. So a little bit of everything as we head into the weekend. Today, though, a dry one, just a cold start. If you're heading out the door right now, 5 a.m. on Friday, we're starting out in the mid-20s. I recommend the thick coat early this morning. We will stay dry through the course of the day today, and temperatures will warm into the upper 30s and low 40s. And then we will see much colder temperatures arrive by the time we get to late in the weekend and the early part of next week. We're going to dive right in for you this morning, though, and get going on this forecast. And we're starting to fine-tune some of the details here as the winter storm draws near. We have dry air in the area today. We're going to be dry through most of the day Saturday for the vast majority of us in the Ozarks. I have to mention there's at least a small chance for some freezing drizzle in our far western counties tomorrow morning. I don't think it's anything that slows you down too much, but keep in mind there's going to be this brief window where temperatures are below freezing. Far western counties, a little bit of drizzle. Yeah, it doesn't take much to make things slick. So watch out for that early on Saturday. I don't think it makes it to the Springfield area or the Highway 65 corridor, but there could be a little bit of freezing drizzle if you're traveling toward Kansas City. You might run into that early tomorrow morning. The main show is going to arrive much later than that, late Saturday night into most of the day on Sunday, and maybe even wrapping up on Monday morning. However, newer model data that's coming in this morning is showing that this storm system may be a little bit faster than first forecasted. So Saturday night through most of the day on Sunday, and then we'll have dry conditions by Monday, but travel could still be a mess for parts of the state of Missouri on Monday morning. That winter storm potential is going to mean that there are already some watches and advisories in place. Cold front came through, and we are now dealing with a cooler air mass on the backside of that. Significant ice, sleet, and snow is in the forecast for some in the Ozarks. This is not true for everybody, though. If you're listening from northern Arkansas to the podcast this morning, congratulations, you just get cold rain. I don't think you're impacted by the winter weather at all. Same goes for the far southern tier of Missouri. I don't think it's going to be a nice day, but you are going to just see cold, rainy, windy conditions. It'll be awful outside, but you don't quite get the treacherous winter weather that our friends up north are going to expect. It's really the I-70 corridor in northern Missouri that gets the best chance at the winter weather and some of the dramatic snowfall and ice totals that you may have been hearing about. What we get in the Ozarks, it's a cold rain for our southwestern counties and the far southern portion of the Ozarks, primarily south of Highway 60. It's a wintry mix for everybody else. We're talking cold rain mixed with freezing rain, mixed with sleet, and yes, some snowfall in there too. Where we start to see the snow primarily take place, that's up along I-70 and north of Highway 54. So that is going to be the best potential for accumulating snowfall in the Ozarks. It's those far northern counties. That's where I'm expecting the snowfall. I'm thinking 1 to 4 inches up along and north of Highway 54. As you get further up into central Missouri, there could easily be some places that get a foot of snow, but I think that's out of our listening area and up in the far northern portion of central Missouri through the I-70 corridor from Kansas City to St. Louis. Eastern Ozarks, big heads up for you folks. I'm talking anywhere from Phelps County back down through Texas County, Dent County, portions of even Shannon County. Icing could be a concern and maybe high ice totals, more than 1/4 inch. And put some wind on top of that. We could be talking about spotty power outages here. Sometimes, honestly, I think the freezing rain is worse than getting a lot of snow because you just can't drive on it at all. No way to get traction. Cars just weren't built to drive on the freezing rain. I think we're going to have a significant amount of that in the eastern and northeastern Ozarks specifically. I think we'll get a little bit here in the Springfield area, but it doesn't look like a lot. And my hope is that we have enough of the cold rain to really kind of wash that out and mean that we see conditions that aren't so bad during the event on Sunday. It's mainly going to be north of Highway 60 that I think we run into some big time travel problems. So I want everyone to prepare for this and move your travel. If you have anything going on Sunday and you live in these areas that I'm talking about, north and east of the Springfield region, that's where the travel is going to be treacherous. St. Louis, Kansas City, central Missouri, and areas along and north of Highway 54, and perhaps down the Highway 63 corridor too in our Missouri counties. That's where I think some of these conditions could be very dicey. Heavy mixed precipitation is possible too. So there could be places that get 1 inch of sleet, those little ice balls. That's going to make things incredibly slick for a period of time as well. But I think a lot of the highest impacts are going to be areas north of Highway 60. So I want to give you kind of a big heads up on that. There will likely be some places that say, oh, just a cold rain for us. We're disappointed. Well, you got to look at the map, see where you are with that freezing line, and that'll be really important too. On Sunday, check the temperature out your door. I mean, look at your thermometer in your yard, because what you get is going to be different than a mile down the road, and a mile down further than that could get something completely different. These cutoff lines between ice, snow, freezing rain, and rain are quite dramatic, and I think will lead to a big range in the type of weather we get across the Ozarks. Plan ahead, though, for this messy travel. That's my big message to you. It's best to be prepared and then not need it, right? Worst case scenario, you got groceries set for the week next week if today's not your normal shopping day, today or tomorrow. All right, cold temperatures is what everyone can bank on. That's what models have all agreed on through this entire event. We are talking about another aspect of this storm system, and it's that the wind is going to be really high. That's a concern for those power outages on Sunday, but with gusts of 30 miles an hour on top of temperatures in the 20s, yeah, it's going to feel like zero or even sub-zero temperatures by the time we get to Monday morning. So even those places that just get the cold rain, keep in mind it's going to rain and then the cold temperatures settle in. So we're going to see the rainfall freeze after the fact. So even if you don't get the wintry weather, there could still be dicey travel in southern Missouri on Monday simply because the temperature is so cold. And if the roads are wet, it's going to freeze. We have such cold weather coming in. So this is why this storm is a big deal. Not only is it the winter precip itself, but it is also the extreme cold that settles in behind it. Around the country, there's a lot going on today. We have lingering cold and snow happening for the Great Lakes region, the Appalachians, and much of the Northeast. The Pacific storms continue to impact the Northwest, and our storm system moves inland tonight. That's going to dig out through across the country on Saturday and then land in the Ozarks by Sunday. And we've got that Arctic air mass surging in behind that from the northern plains into the central United States. This is also going to be impacting the East Coast as we head into the weekend and much of next week too. So, wow, is there a lot going on across the country? January and 2025 really starting off on a rather brutal note for many. Here's the Around the Ozarks Wake Up Weather Brain Twister trivia question that I left you with yesterday. Immigrants from what country introduced the New Year baby to the United States? All European countries. Do you think it was A, Germany, B, Italy, C, Ireland, or D, Spain? Well, the answer is A, Germany. And those of you that are saying, hey, wait a minute, the New Year baby is actually traced back to ancient Greece. Yes, you are correct, but it is the Germans that are credited with bringing this popular tradition to us. Yes, the idea of the New Year baby originated in ancient Greece, where it was part of a celebration of the god of fertility and wine. But the Germans used the baby New Year, often depicted as a baby in a hat or a sash, one that you may be familiar with seeing around during these baby New Year stories. In the late 1400s, baby New Year was compared to baby Jesus or a religious figure. Baby New Year is often shown with Father Time, who is passed on the ancient Roman god of time, Saturn. Baby New Year spends the year growing and learning, and then he passes on the wisdom to Father Time on January 1st. So the modern use of Baby New Year became popular at the beginning of the 20th century, often featured on the cover of the Saturday Evening Post as a toddler in a top hat and a sash. That's the one I am familiar with seeing. And of course, we always report, being my background in news, you always heard about the New Year baby, the first baby born in the United States. First baby born in Springfield. I'm told this year, first baby for the Ozarks was born in the Mercy Hospital in Springfield just about a quarter after midnight this year. So congrats to the new parents. All right, here's the question that I'll leave you with for Monday. On average, how fast do snowflakes fall from the sky? See if you can clock them this weekend. Do you think it is A, 1.5 miles per hour, B, 3 miles per hour, C, 4.5 miles an hour, or D, 6 miles an hour? you can let me know your guess. That's at aroundtheozarks.com. I want to thank you for listening this morning. I know it was kind of an extra long podcast, but we had a lot to discuss with all of the variety of winter weather, we'll call it, coming our way this weekend. Encourage everybody to be safe this weekend. If it looks too dicey, just hold off on travel until the temperatures warm up a bit. We're in for a cold snap too, heading our way as we head into the early part of next week. Thanks to Command Family Medicine and John's Heating and Air. I'm meteorologist Abby Dyer. Make sure you check the website aroundtheozarks.com. It'll keep you up to date on all the weather information that you need to know through the weekend. I'll chat with you again early Monday.